very well. How the maybe the next game is not gonna be the blowout that it was against Denver. How to control the anxious of your team if the situation is close in the game 2?
We have confidence and wisdom because of the situations we've been in over time. There's no team I'm more confident in being ready to play really in any situation than ours. I'm biased, obviously, but you also have to go make it happen. Those experiences don't guarantee you anything. They certainly don't carry over into the next experience. And so we've got the wisdom from them, we get the confidence from them, but when the ball goes up in the air tomorrow, the better team's going to win, and we want to do everything we can to be that team.
Jeff, fourth row on your right.
Jeff Zilgett, USA Today. Mark, you just saying make it happen. With the benefit now of having some time to watch the game, what didn't happen for you guys that you take away from that game and will apply to game 2?
It's always tricky, because 1-point losses are emotional, and you got to be able to strip away the emotion from that. Understand there was a lot of things we did well in the game to build a 15-point lead. There's a lot of things we did well in the game that we certainly don't want to throw out. And there's a lot of things that we can improve on. We have a lot of runway here to improve. And Indiana does too. I'm sure they don't come out of that game feeling like they played perfectly either. And so that becomes the challenge after a game 1 of a series is you've now felt the opponent a little bit. You've thrown some things out there, learned some things from the game. And now we just got to improve at some tangible things that we think we can improve at. Indiana's going to try to do the same thing, and then the better team will win.
Next seat over, Tim.
Mark, you guys have been obviously very good after wins this season too, but after losses, it just seems like it goes up a notch. What, if anything, changes about this group when it is coming off a loss?
I think nothing. I think that's the trick is you don't want to be reactive to the last game because then you can be too high after wins, you can be too low after losses. We just get ourselves to neutral, understand every game's different, every game is unwritten, and you go out there, the ball goes up in the air, and the team that competes better on that night wins. That's been kind of a mental habit for us over time, and we try to carry that over to every situation, and it's obviously very important in this situation. So, but I couldn't explain it beyond that. They just do a great job of getting themselves to zero and getting ready to compete in the next moment.
Jenny, over here.
Hey Mark, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoma. You said on Thursday you wanted to go back and watch the defense in the second half. I'm curious what you saw. You mentioned at one point that disruption was the goal. Were you guys disruptive enough defensively in the second half?
Not as disruptive as we were in the first half, but that was obviously probably an outlier as well. There's certainly things we could have done better in the second half. I thought we got a little loose on different things, but I'm also careful in these settings, especially not to take away from what Indiana did. I mean, there's 2 teams out there playing, and they did a really good job in the second half of that game, certainly in the back half of the fourth quarter, to put themselves in position to get a win the way they did. And so they deserve credit for that. But certainly, when the door shuts and we're watching film, we're looking at it through our lens, through the things we can control. We thought we left some stuff on the table in that game. Like I said, I'm sure they feel that way too. But now we have to start the process of improving and growing in the series.
On your right, Dan, third row.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Mark, it was one of Shai's highest usage, highest shot attempt, lowest pass out games of the season. Just wondering what you saw from his offensive process and sort of what Indiana's doing to load up on him.
Yeah, they're high up the floor on him, both on the ball and with the initial coverage. I don't think that's necessarily specific to him. They've done that, quite a bit here in these playoffs, but that's how they showed the other night in game 1. We got to the paint collectively as a team a lot. We got in there a lot. We did not convert enough on those plays, obviously. I thought there was just a lot of plays we just didn't finish. We didn't get the juice out of that squeeze. Some of that, again, is a credit to Indiana. I'm not trying to take anything away from the way they played, but we can be better in those situations. Him and everybody else. I mean, he wasn't the only one in the paint in that game. So we have to continue to try to get there. And when we get there, we have to continue to try to find the most efficient shot. I thought, we could have improved that from last game.
Front right, Tim.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Mark, when you went back and looked at it, what stood out to you about Chet's offensive performance, and what can he do, or what can you guys do to, get him going on that end?
Yeah, I don't think anybody played their best game. So I don't want to. Certainly, he didn't play his best game, but I don't think any of us did. That wasn't our best game, flat out, with anybody. What I will say is, like, he and Dub specifically, obviously, they've carved out huge roles on our team. They're a huge reason why we're here. They're in an uncommon position for third-year players. These are guys that are in their third year. Usually, delivering in the finals is not on the curriculum for third-year players, and they've thrust themselves into that situation, which is a credit to them. And now that they're here, they have to continue to do what they've done all the way through the playoffs, which is go out there, fully compete, learn the lessons, and apply it forward. And they've done a great job of that. I think you've seen that over the course of the playoffs. They haven't always played their best game, but they always get themselves ready to play the next one. The last guy I'm worried about with that is Chet.
Joe, next row back.
Joe Martin, The Athletic. I know you spoke about this immediately after Game 1, but the lineup change you made with Wallace for Hartenstein. Did you get what you wanted out of that change, and is it something you're going to stick with in the series?
I usually don't address plans for lineups and rotations in these settings. What I'll say is we have a lot of optionality that we draw on almost nightly. If you've followed our team throughout the season, I think that flexibility and adaptability is the only constant. We're never staying the same. I know we've started the same lineup in the playoffs, but our rotation night to night in these series has been incredibly variant. We think that's a strength of our team. I liked how we started the game, and I liked really everything we did to build a 15-point lead, and then we didn't deliver down the stretch collectively. But we're always trying to learn from it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you have options like that, you're allowed to move in and out of those options as you see fit. We understand the trade-offs of every lineup we put on the court, and we'll continue to try to make every decision we can to give ourselves the best chance to win. That's what we did in Game 1. Didn't turn out in our favor, but that's what we'll do in Game 2 and moving forward.
Coach Oliver Martin of Ridmo, people harp on the youth of your team, but they play like 28 to 30-year-olds. They play old.
Yeah.
To what extent is it this self-screening? Whoever comes in the door has to have a certain profile. And to what extent do you overload them to prepare them for the finals, for games like they've had?
It's hard to, it's a very abstract thing to understand, but we do have an uncommon approach. There's no place we'd rather be than in the finals. Even with a young team, these guys have an uncommon mentality with that, as I've mentioned many different times. I think Sam does a great job of understanding the person that we're bringing in the door, and then we do the best we can to put them in a great environment and help them grow. And how that all comes together, to equal this, I think the guys deserve a lot of credit for it, the vision they have for themselves. But it's hard to understand, exactly why that is. But I do know I have great confidence in the mentality of the team, the poise of the team, confidence of the team, maturity of the team.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
First question on the second ring.
Scott Kinsel with The Score. Hey Shai, before Game 1 you talked about playing with the other Canadian guys and how you've been doing that over the years. What was it like to share the floor with Andrew in Game 1?
Yeah, it was fun. The stage, the moment, what's at stake, it's all things you dream about as a kid. It was everything I imagined it to be.
So just a follow-up on that a little bit. You guys kind of exchanged a little shove back and forth, I think, in the fourth quarter, third quarter. I mean, you're both very chill guys. What was going on in that moment, and what does it say about what's at stake here?
Yeah, nothing more than two guys wanting to win. No malicious intent behind it, just wanting to win.
Do people kind of underestimate maybe the competitive fire that Andrew has, just given his demeanor and how he carries himself?
Yeah, he's a competitor. He's a winner. Plays the game the right way on both ends of the floor. Really good player. But yeah, he's a winner for sure. No doubt.
Tim, fourth row on your right.
Shai, Tim Reynolds with the AP. Mark just said that after a loss, nothing really changes with you guys. I'm not asking you to contradict him, but it does seem like in those times when you guys are coming off one, there is a little bit more fire there the next time out for whatever reason. Does anything change coming off a loss, or whether it's a win or a loss, do you guys find a way to just kind of go into every game the same way? Or is there something extra?
Yeah, it does feel like that. Now we like day-to-day interactions, like our moods. I think he's talking more so like those don't really change. We the losses are a little bit louder, obviously, like they hurt more, and you try to like you try to get better through them, and it's a lot easier to learn from a loss than it is from a win, just off of like the emotional aspect of it, and I think that's probably why it looks the way it does. But yeah, nothing. Like coach is right. Nothing really changes. We just the losses hurt a little bit more, I would say.
Second row here on the right.
Hey, Jay, Drafteados from Spain. The other day we saw a video comparing your moves with Kobe Bryant moves, and they were pretty similar. I mean, the pump fakes, the mid-range shots, they were very similar. I wonder how much you studied Kobe's games to become the MVP that you are right now, and if you have the chance to meet him and maybe get some advice from him.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite player of all time. Never got the chance to meet him, to answer your question. But yeah, he, not only me, like kids all across the world, his influence has gone through the roof, and his legacy will be remembered forever because of the competitor and the basketball player that he was. Yeah, hopefully I'm somewhere close to that where I'm a basketball player one day. But yeah, he was a special talent, special person, and God rest his soul.
Here on the left, second row.
Jaime Hawkins Jr., NBA correspondent. My question to you is, going into game one, I felt as if you were ultra aggressive, and going into game two, I want to know how you balance being aggressive while also obviously trying to get your teammates involved, obviously being the focal point of the offense. So how do you have that balance, and does it change game by game?
I always try to be aggressive, and I never like predetermine it. I always like just let the game tell me what to do. So I guess last game I felt more often than not I had a shot or a play that I could attack on, more than in the past, and that's just the way it went. So like the same thing will happen in game two. I'll read the defense and I'll play off my feel and my instincts, and if it's calling for me to shoot or if it's calling for me to pass is what I'll decide to do.
Marcus, back right.
I'm curious, Shay, do you, after you miss a shot that you know you make and you've made a million times, is it easy to put those away, or do they stick with you? And did this one maybe stick more because it was Drew?
They're easy to put away now. There was a time in my career where it wasn't, and you get to grow and learn through that. But yeah, I mean, like I've just grown to learn. Like you control what you can control. Like I shot the ball, I missed it. It's written in history. There's nothing I can do now. That is a missed shot, and all I can do is try to be better than the next shot. That's what I focus on. That's my mindset. And at this point, it's like second nature. Like I shot the ball. I try to make it. Every shot I shoot, I try to make. Sometimes it just doesn't do it.
On your right, Mark Spears.
Shay, Mark Spears, ESPN Dangscape. On the same wave, at what point do you let it go? Was it that, have you let it go to game one? And then also as a leader of this team, do you come in the next day trying to get everybody else right mentally?
Yeah, I let it go. I let the, you talking about the whole game? Yeah, I let the game go as soon as I learn the lessons from it. As soon as I watch film, take what I need to take from it, and we do it as a group. After that, I let it go because the lessons are learned. There's nothing else you can do. And then honestly, the team has the same demeanor. So there's no, like this team makes it easy. You don't have to rile guys up or lock guys in. Like we all have the same goal in mind, and we all know what it takes to win games. And we just, that's what's on the focus of our mind, and that's what we are focused on the next day. Like being better and trying to win the next one.
Thank you, Shay. Jalen will be up next. All right, we'll take questions for Jalen. Please raise your hand. We've got the mics around the room. First question. Back right in the red.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports. Jalen, after you looked at the film and everything else, did you take anything away in terms of what you can take in a game too? Like, for instance, like shot selection, things of that nature, just defensively at the end, they went on a 12-2 run. Anything you take away from that game that you wish you would have done? Or was it just they made shots, they made plays?
Probably a little bit of they made shots and made plays to a certain extent. You know, you never want to overlook the fact that a team like made shots, and you try and like look back at the film and see why they did that, like what kind of defensive breakdowns we had to allow them to get the looks that they got. And then I think looking back at our offensive process, I thought we were pretty good throughout the whole entire game. So trying to find the balance of improving on offense and also finding just little small things that beat you late game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, these games really come down to like 1 or 2 possessions, so it's like the more we can find throughout the game, little things to like lock in on and tighten up, the better we'll be.
Joe, second row on the right.
Joe Warren, The Athletic. A couple minutes ago, Mark was up there talking about you and Chet being third-year players, and third-year players aren't typically counted on at a moment like this in the finals. Do you feel that, I guess, that sort of responsibility, and how have you managed it, knowing that you are just in your third year, and typically like what Mark said, like this isn't something that that someone like you or Chet would find yourself in so early in your career?
Just try and think of myself as somebody that's very uncommon. I don't ever think that I'm in my third year, because then that allows me to make excuses. So I should just go out there and play. Pressure is a privilege, so I enjoy being counted on and doing that. And I just think I've been counted on since, I feel like last year, to be totally honest, just in regard to like being there for 2 of the rest of the guys. And now we're here in the finals, so I don't really see it that much different. But I never really look and I'm like, oh, this is only my third year. I just think the only time I really think about that is just like there's so much more I can do and how much stuff I can get better at, but I never really try and use it as this is my third year and try and use it as an excuse, you know what I mean?
Next row back, Dan.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Along those lines, sort of, it was one of Shai's highest usage games of the season, highest shot totals of the season. We saw a lot of that in the Minnesota series as well, and I think a lot of that is like they're loading up so much to him. When you know that that's there and you're the release valve for a lot of that, like, does that impact at all the way you think about those possessions? Does the ball feel a little bit heavier? Do you feel like you have to press more? When you know that you are sort of the release valve option there, does that impact the way that you think?
Not really. It's not really like any different of a position that I've been in since I've been here. But no, the ball only feels pretty heavy when you get like a grenade or something from anybody, and I feel like I've thrown my teammates plenty of those in the years that I've been here. So, but a lot of it is just like more staying ready to be the release valve or like be ready to make a play, and that's kind of the mindset that everybody on the team carries out. And that doesn't always mean that I have to like go jack up a shot, but just trying to create for others or even like get the possession moving in a different direction. Like there's a lot of things that I can do on the court offensively that don't involve like obviously scoring for that possession, but I try and think of it that way and just try to make the right play.
Second row over here.
Hey Jalen, draftados from Spain. We just asked Shai about a video that we saw of Kobe and him, like plays were very similar, the pump fakes, the stopping, the mid-range, the turnaround jumpers. I was wondering if you have seen that and what you think about that. And also, now that we're one game in the series, you guys have talked a lot about winning the days in between. I was wondering if you could take us through what that means and if you feel like you've won the day in between.
Yeah, first for Shai question, yeah, there are a lot of similarities there. I feel like if you are really paying attention to basketball and watch the way he plays, it's a lot of similarities. It's cool that he can pick certain aspects of his game to like kind of mimic that a little bit and then add his own like touch to it. So that kind of shows the kind of player that he is, to be able to steal bits and pieces from his from his favorite players and be able to like put it into a game and work on it. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into him being able to do that, and then winning the days in between. I mean, you never really know if you want them until you play your next game, but all you can do is try and have the same routine that you've had throughout the season, throughout the playoffs, and try and mimic that as close as possible, eliminate distractions, not focus on what the series is at, focus on how you can get better. Like I said earlier for the first question, like you try and figure out small things to get better at during like the playoff run, during the finals, and basically whatever team can like figure out how to get better each and every game, each and every series usually ends up winning. So that's what we try and do, and that's what we focus on.
Michael, last question up front.
Michael Grange from Sportsnet in Toronto. I know these matchups are never really one-on-one, but you've had a fair bit of covering Pascal Siakam in Game 1. How do you feel about that kind of matchup against a guy who's just a little bit bigger and has kind of a three-level game in a way?
That's fun. You can't really ask for more than a guard and elite player in the finals. So obviously he's definitely battle tested. He won with Toronto, correct? Yeah. So he's done this. This isn't like his first time going through it. So I try and take that into account. And like I said, for me, I'm trying to get better every time we play. And then obviously him going at me the way he is, like unconsciously, is making me better. So I try and relish in that opportunity and just compete. There's going to be mishaps, there's going to be mistakes. He's going to score. He's a good player, but you just try and make it as hard as you can. And they do the same thing on the other end.
Thank you, gentlemen.